Happy Tuesday to everybody. The market is a little bit down today, as you can tell. We're gonna try to, we're gonna try to get through it. They say what goes up must come down. It looks as if I just wanted to kind of point out Zoom Communications, the symbol ZM, took an absolute swan dive today it's just moved down tremendously. I kind of want to show you the slide on this one. I hope you weren't in it, and if you were in it, I sincerely hope that you had a stop loss in there. This is why it's so important when you come into earnings. If you're not up 10%, it's a good idea to possibly sell the position, wait for it to come through earnings, and then possibly buy it back because these are unpredictable. Zoom's earnings were fabulous, but guess what? They didn't have enough. Their growth wasn't enough. Can you believe that? I mean, it's just incredible. But I just want to kind of get into the slides here. Basically, as I said, Zoom is down sharply today. Docusign is also off as well. It's it's always something, I guess. Just wanted to kind of show you where the Qs were. The QQQ, it's down just slightly. The QQQ is the ETF, one of the world's largest ETFs that covers the Nasdaq 100. And of course, this is where all the good growth stocks live in the Nasdaq 100. They basically have, it's basically the growth stocks. This is where Apple is. This is where Nvidia is. This is where a lot of great stocks are in this one. It's down slightly today, not a lot, 0.11%. Volumes down. This is sort of the summer doldrums. Remember, we are basically a week out from Labor Day, and traditionally a lot of people take this week off, so it is not as it's not as big a deal in terms of it's not as big a deal in terms of the trading year. So as we come in, when people start getting back from Labor Day, that's probably when we'll see the volumes pick up. Typically, that's the way it works. The last 3 months of the year, October, November, December, typically are the best months in the trading year. But but August and September, early September, can be challenging. So keep your stop losses tight, and also probably, it's probably best not to be fully invested right now. I've definitely pulled back. I'm kind of rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic as well. The Spider is down as well, but it is still in an upward trend. So everything is still an upward trend. It's just that things are kind of pulling back today. Kind of want to show you, the kind of this is the high-low ratio. What this is a proprietary indicator, and it kind of shows you, what's happening in the market. Are we making a rebound? So we might have. This is kind of inverse. So this is sort of a top, and it looks like it may be coming back. So you might want to, at least for right now, it looks as if we have a fair amount of, relative to highs. We have a fair amount. We've had a pretty even high-low ratio. Now, as this moves back up, we're going to move to where there's more lows than highs, and that's typically that's the normal state of things. So I do see a little bit of change in the market. Just don't know if that will be the case for everything. Wanted to show you kind of what happened with Zoom. Zoom is currently trading for 290.55. It was way up here. It was at 335. It basically took a swan dive down 56.95. Can you believe that? 16.39%. Really nothing wrong with the stock. Their guidance was that they're going to be their growth is going to be slowing. So that kind of says something. At least in the software sector, we're going to see some weakness. Definitely seeing it with Zoom communication and also with Docusign. So I was going to go into a Docusign position, so I'm glad I didn't do that. I am glad I didn't do that. Now here is a stock that seems to be moving in the opposite direction, and this is in the software space. But it seems to have bottomed and it's moving higher. I did add a position. I was selling my Airbnb today, and I did add a position in Palantir. It is up today, believe it or not. It's one of my few stocks that is up today. Here's currently what I'm holding, and as you can see, Apple's down. Not so much. It's over that key 150 level. So I'm pretty confident in Apple. It's just pulling back a little bit. Apple is just kind of moving slowly, but it's still, I think, really a class act. Berkshire Hathaway, a traditional defensive stock. It's up today. I do own it. I did pair my position in Macy's a little bit. I sold part of half a position in one of the portfolios that I have in Macy's. I've done very well with Macy's, but I'm starting to pare back now on this as well. Matson is down a little bit, but this is continuing to do well. Nvidia down about 1%. Nothing really serious here. As long as it's above 220, I'm pretty happy. ST Micro, this one is kind of flat. It's showing it's down here. Earlier today it was up. MCHP, this is coming into a split. It's down a little bit, but it's still holding its own. Again, Palantir, this is one of they have that is one of the bucking the trend. This is why I went into this one, because whenever they buck the trend like this and go up, then I'm interested in them. Robert Half down a little bit. Goldman Sachs down just slightly, not a lot. Trex down. This is one I bought yesterday, Adcore. It's an industrial company. It's moving in the opposite direction just slightly. Perkin-Elmer's down $4, which I wish I wouldn't down that much. And also Square is off a little bit as well. So that kind of gives you an idea of sort of where I'm at in terms of my holdings out there right now. So that's kind of the, that's kind of the where I've been. So let's get into some of the slides. Let's get into the questions, and let me pull up my charts here. So we all in there. There we go. I'm just pulling it up right now. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to show the first chart. Of course, I want to show you is Zoom Communication, ZM. So we can kind of analyze that, see kind of what was going on there with Zoom, and why it is a issue. Okay, so I'm going to go over and share the screen here for Zoom. Okay, so this is Zoom, and we were going along here. This is the reversal line here. This is the reason why when you're buying, you want to make sure that you buy as it moves above a reversal line. You see, this didn't make it. It tried, but it didn't quite make it above that reversal line. Then we went into earnings. Even though the earnings were up 48%, which is tremendous, the stock still went down, and it still went down hard. So this is one of the reasons why it's really prudent if you're in a situation, if you're in a situation where you're going into earnings, if you're not up at least, really at least about 10%, you kind of want to consider selling, and not holding it through earnings. But this kind of gives you a look at Zoom, what happened today. They came into earnings, and then this is the gap down, as you can see. Just put the temporary line on it there. There we go. It gapped down all the way. That's a lot of gap down. As you can see, that's a lot of gap down. Gapped all the way down to there, even though it did have that superior earnings. So, some people are really selling it off. And as you can see, that's a definite sell signal there with this spike. So probably not a good time to be bargain hunting for Zoom Communication. It doesn't look like it is holding up as well as we would have liked to have seen it. So that's that. So without further ado, let's get to some of the questions and talk. Thanks, Dinesh. Apps gapped up. Yes, it did. Absolutely. After the closing in the S&P Midcap 400, I'm in at 50. Take profits or wait for more institutional support. Very good question. This is a great thing that Dinesh brings up here, and that is if you do go in when they come into the S&P, that can be a very good time. I mean, that can absolutely be a very, very good time. There was a gap up, very strong here. This is the bar here. You're in at 50. That you must have come in right before these earnings. So you definitely did this. You definitely bought this correctly, much better than I did. I was waiting for it to move above the reversal line there, but you definitely did. Here's what I would do: is change direction. I would hold this one. I really would. Let's see if you can get up to 66.95 on that. If you can in the next few things, I think you should definitely hold this. That's a very, very nice move there. 56 on the checklist, which is it's okay. I'd like to see it a little stronger. Where it's kind of where it's getting better, is you'll see that relative strength line at 48. But what's key is this little blue line here. You can see that moving upwards. So that's a very good sign. So congratulations, Dinesh. That is a very, very good. That's a very good. That's very, very good. Um, all right, a question from Kate. Thank you very much. Any thoughts or predictions for September in general? Well, typically September is weaker. It's one of the weaker, at least as it starts out, as people getting back from school. So you got to be a little bit more careful, Kate, in September. Traditionally, the August, especially mid-August till mid-September, this is one of the weakest periods of the year. Then after the kids get back from school, a lot of times, then it will pick up. So this is traditionally kind of a slow period, so you want to be a little bit careful in this period making new buys. You want to buy probably as before they reach the buy zone. It's a little bit more difficult to buy, so I would just be a little bit more careful during this period of time for the next few weeks. Let's see what happens in terms of the market and see if it starts turning up in September. Usually it does, but towards the end of September. Typically, the best 3 months in the market are October, November, December. That's been true for the last about 50 years. Now, it doesn't always work out that way, but that has a lot to do with it. So, thank you very much for that question. That's a very insightful question. Let's see. I'm going to take a question from TikTok. Thank you very much from why Palantir? Thank you very much. Let's go back to the chart on Palantir. And I'm going to say why would I buy Palantir today? That's a very, very valid question, and I want to show you the chart on Palantir. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit as well. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more zoom action. Oh no, that's not the right one. Okay, there we go. We're zooming in a little bit on the charts, and there we go. Hopefully we can see it. Let's see if I can move it the right direction. Oh goodness. All right. So I am trying to move it over. There we go. Okay. So here we are with the chart with Palantir. As you can see, the reason I bought Palantir today is because there's a cup with handle formation. The buy point on this, so I'm right below the buy point, is 25.96. I bought a half position initially for 24.92, and then I added today basically at right below 26. So the reason I'm buying is because it's moved past the reversal line. That's this line here. And then it's pulled above the 200-day line, and it's pulled above the cup with handle formation buy point. So that's why I bought today. Relative strength is 89. It's starting to improve. This has been, this was an IPO. It's very heavily subscribed, but it hasn't been viable really until it started to make this reverse over the reversal line. So that's the reason I bought it. It's reversed higher. Now, will it hold this reversal? Who knows? It may not. But the checklist is starting finally to get good. 78. This is my minimum is 68. So it is definitely it's only missing in two areas. It's 15% off of its all-time high. Remember, it pulled back a lot, and also the relative strength. That means is less than 80 or better. Now, if we had a relative strength of 80, then it would be in the top 20%. But it is improving. That's one area that it is improving in. As you can see, initially when it came out, it ran way up here to 45, and then it pulled back, and this is what they call a basing period. And look at how long it took to base from January all the way to August. Wow, that's 8 months. So a long time. A long time. That's really kind of what you have to do. You gotta let the stock get ready, and that's what they call the base period. And from basically July, the beginning of July here, until today, we've had this cup with handle formation. And the cup with handle formation, if it's bought correctly, can be one of the better formations to buy off of. So that's the reason I bought it, and that's the reason I did add to the position today. So I appreciate that. That's a good question from TikTok. So thank you very much. Also, another question from Dinesh. Let's look at Academy Sports and Outdoors, ASO. This is a good stock, and it's in a good area. It's been doing very well. It is currently in a buy zone. So you definitely can buy this one. And I'm going to kind of zoom in on the chart there a little bit. There we go. So the buy point on this one is 42.75. It's moved above that. Now, this is not as good a formation as the one that we saw right a few minutes ago here on with Palantir. This is a cup without handle. There's a little bit more danger in buying these formations. Why? Because they come up to the buy point 42.55 and they collapse. You typically want to see a handle. Now, you can buy this one because it has moved above the buy point and it's been able to hold that. As long as you can hold in what they call the buy zone, that's the buy point plus 5%, and you can hold it for a day, then that's a potentially safer place to buy it. But you could definitely add it here. Now, here's a caveat on this. I probably wouldn't do this, and the reason I wouldn't do this is because earnings are in 9 days. Now, as we saw with Zoom, everything can be going right, and everything can be lining up. But if you're not 10% up on a stock before earnings, I would consider selling it. That doesn't mean you can't buy it here, but if you buy it here, you probably should sell it or put a stop loss in to make sure that you don't get whacked on this. Now, what sometimes happens is even with good earnings, they will pull back. So you got to be extremely careful. I probably would not be a buyer of ASO into earnings, but I would definitely watch this one because this one could potentially explode out of earnings. So probably the time to buy it is earnings plus 1 day. That's probably your best place to buy it. So that can be very, very good. All right, we have a question on Tesla and on Neo. So everyone kind of likes those two. I am a little bit skittish right now with some of the Chinese stocks, to be honest with you, just because of the potential risk from political risk, as you know. I don't know if you've heard this story, but apparently in China they're going to restrict the video game playing for people now, for children, uh, to like I think it's 1 hour a week or something. It's crazy, but it seems as if the restrictions on many things are starting to creep back in. So this is a little bit concerning to me, and even beyond the fundamentals, I think we've got to be careful. Now, with Neo, I just wouldn't be a buyer of Neo based on this chart. I've drawn the reversal line in here, but as you can see, it's trending below. It's trending lower. Neo is trending lower. So we don't really want to buy a stock that's trending lower. Even though it's up today $1.54 or about 4%, it's still the overall trend is down, and we're below that 200-day line. That's this black line here. So here's the thing. This is absolutely reverse. You've got the 200 at the top. You've got the 40-day, the 21-day, and the 10-day. So this is telling me with these lines that the trend, at least for right now, is downwards. And remember, the trend is your friend, right? They say that all the time. And right now, we're buying with a negative trend. So I would say don't buy at this point. I just think that you've got to be careful with Neo. So I would not be a buyer. I would not be a buyer on Neo. At this point, I don't think it's lining up properly right now. So basically, Neo is currently in a downtrend. Okay, so we probably don't want to buy that one. Now with Tesla, I think it's a little bit different story with Tesla because Tesla has moved above the critical to the critical 9 the critical 930 point. So we are finally above this 929.90. If in after hours it's looking good. It's getting some strength. So we may be seeing some strength here in in Tesla. The question is, and I kind of want to zoom in on it here so we can kind of look to see what the action is with this. Okay, this 729.90 here is important, and we've moved above it, so that's very, very good. I basically am. I was out the last time I was in. The last time I was in, Tesla was the last time I sold out a Tesla was on 8/6. I sold out at 69, 699.99. That's kind of where I sold out. I ran it up, but it was weakened, and then it came back down. So we may get some more strength this time. I would not I would not do a full position on this right now. I just think it's too risky. So here's the thing: if you want to get in Neo, I mean, in don't get in Neo, but possibly you can get into Tesla. But I would be very careful. I would not go in with a full position, maybe a quarter position at this point, just because I don't think right now it is as strong as we need it to be. But if it can hold over 730, I think then we may have see this reversal finally move up with Tesla. So that's kind of my point with Tesla and Neo. I think Neo is definite no. Tesla, we could start kind of poking that little toe back into the water to see if we can get in that. So I think that's good as well. Let's look at TTD, and let's see with TTD if I can get that. Yeah. So let me see if I can look at TTD. I haven't been in TTD since I closed the spread on the 10 to 1 on the 10 to 1 split. I did have an options play on this one, but I currently do not have the shares of this one. It has reversed above the reversal line, but it's a weak reversal, so I would be a little bit concerned about this. Possibly we can it may be getting a little bit better, but currently we have the relative strength line trending downwards, and that's this blue line here, this little blue line here. You see it's been higher, so we want to buy this as this is making a new high. So currently the trend on this stock, unfortunately, even though it has come above the reversal, the trend is it's underperforming the S&P 500 right now, which is kind of amazing. It's coming down from its former glory. So here's the thing: even though they did have this tremendous earnings, it still wasn't enough. And look, the volume is fairly low as well. So I think I would be waiting on this one to see if it moves a little bit higher. I want to see it move above about 90 before I would probably be interested in it. So right now with TTD, I think you just got to be a little bit careful. I just think you got to be a little bit. It's also the market too. The market is pulling back a little bit before the before the Labor Day holiday. So we've got to be a little bit more careful in initiating positions here and not going so big. Kind of just kind of keep it a little bit smaller, and yeah, just keep it a little bit smaller. Question from TikTok, and that is on Nucor, NUE is the symbol. And I'm going to pull that up right now. By the way, if you're looking on TikTok, super easy to see all the charts and everything. Technically, I cannot show them these on TikTok just based on my capabilities here in the studio, but I can show to you on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor, and we're live with all the charts. So let's get back into it with some of the charts. This is the chart for Nucor here, and let's see if I can take that banner down. There we go. Yeah, so you can see it. This is Nucor. Just want to kind of show you this stock here. It's definitely the class act in terms of the steel group. This has been a really, really good group. It's currently 3 out of 197, so definitely still a lot of interest in this group. There's a lot of money that has moved into steel, into the steel group, and right now it's performing very well. Currently, it's pulled back to the 21-day line. Possibly you could enter a position here. It's not that extended, but it's a little bit extended, but just barely. You probably could enter a position here. Now, if you already have a position in Nucor, you might want to add another position. And now, what do I mean by position? Well, in position trading, here's how it works. Let's say, for instance, you have a portfolio that's worth $8,000. That's a good round number. If you divide that by 8, and remember, you always want to divide it by 8, that's going to give you 8 full positions of $1,000 each. So when I say one position, what I mean is the amount of stock that would be equal to the amount of shares of the stock equal to one full position. In the case of an $8,000 portfolio, that would be $1,000. And currently, since Nucor is selling for about 117.51, actually it actually is, that would be approximately 8 shares. And the reason that you do it that way is if you set your stop loss at 7%, the maximum exposure to your capital, if it is stopped out, is only about 1%, 1 to 2%. So that's what I mean by a position. And I kind of went through that pretty quickly, but that's what I mean essentially by a position. All right, let's take a look. Thank you, Tycoon W. Your thoughts on AYTU? Let's look at AYTU. AYTU. Okay. Interesting. Commercial novel. Okay, so this is a biotech. Biotechs. I am not a very great when it comes to biotechs. I have to say uncle because I am not a very good analyst of biotechs. Now, here's something that I'd be a little bit concerned with this one in particular. I'm not saying it's not a good one, but it's in a downward trend. So we don't like that. First off, we don't like the fact that it's in a downward trend. It's moving from essentially just think of a plane that's flying from Seattle to Miami. That's not the way we want to go. We want to go from Los Angeles to Boston. We want to go up. We don't want to go down. This is going down. So strike one against Atu Biopharma. Also, it's below $10 in price. We don't like to see that typically because most funds will only invest in stocks if they're $10 or more. So that's a strike against it too. Also, we have a relative strength of 2. Now, this is the second worst score that you can get. The worst, of course, is 1. The best is 99. So this is the third strike against it. So I would say with this one, 3 strikes, you're out. The checklist is 44. Tycoon, I think you may want to move on to some greener pastures. I don't think that this one necessarily would be the one you want to do. So let's take a look at some stock ideas just so that I'm just not a total negative Nelly, because I want to look at about 7 stocks here that all are sort of breaking out today. And let's see if we can do that here. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to quickly look through about I'm going to look through about 7 stocks, and hopefully if I can find something. Well, let's kind of zoom in here a little bit. I zoomed out too much. There we go. Okay. So we're going to look at 7 stocks right now that may or may not be viable. Okay, so let's take a look. This is Broadway Financial. No, but it is breaking out. Interesting. This is a cheap stock. I want to kind of show you some cheapies. Let's see. This is a Brazilian manufacturer of petrochemicals. This is looking very good, actually, by the way. This one may be actionable right here. I want to take a look at that one. I'm going to put a little check mark there. Oops, there we go. Let's DHI. Let's look at this. These are all the stocks that are breaking out today. Job listing. Well, I'm not as excited about. Internet content though. It's been doing well. Core Point Larging. This is interesting. This is a REIT. Interesting. A lot of REITs are getting a lot of love because of the bond yields are so low. People are going into them. GH Research PLC. This is a okay. So this is a biotech, but there is one that we might want to kind of take a gander at. Let's just move up there, and that's this one here. This is the Brazilian company. Yeah, and this one may be sort of actionable. Yeah, absolutely. This one's a chemical company, so it's pretty far down there, but right now their earnings were up 350%. So I'm not saying this one's a buy, but I'm saying this is one you might want to look at. Look at this relative strength, 98. It's in a buy zone, 2509. It's a Brazilian company, and it makes petrochemicals. So interesting. With the currency, with the strength of the dollar, you're going to see a lot of power in some of these Brazilian companies because their currency is very, very competitive against the dollar. And in these basic industries where cost is the key, these should do very, very well. So this is one you might want to look at. Also, if you were with me yesterday, we did a spread on Mercado Libre, which is kind of the Amazon of South America. Let me look at Melly. Um, as there's been weakness in Asia, I've been sort of doing a pivot, not towards Europe, which I think is in trouble, not towards Africa, but towards South America. And I think there's a lot of Brazilian and Argentinian companies that finally may be coming home, primarily Brazilian companies, I have to admit. But this Mercado Libre, this is based in Argentina, but it operates throughout Latin America. It's off a little bit today. There's a buy point 18.99. This is a very expensive stock, but I think this is a very, very good stock. It's got a cup with handle formation, and I just think that right now with some of the difficulties in Asia, I think there's going to be a pivot to some of the Latin American countries, Mexico, Argentina, and there's some very, very good stocks that are in these areas. And Mercado Libre, of course, it's based in Argentina, but it operates throughout Latin America. It's kind of like Amazon, and it's doing very, very well. So this is one I kind of want to put it on your radar screen. It's kind of expensive, so probably would only do a spread there on that. So that's kind of an FYI for everybody. To kind of shift a little bit, shift from Asia possibly to some of the South American and possibly Brazilian and Argentinian stocks, because I do think that they have some real potential. Okay, let's look at AYX. AYX. And there we go. Ooh, this is down on analytics. I like the area, but I don't like the chart. As they say, you buy on fundamentals and technicals and you sell on technicals. But here's the thing, even though I really like the fact that they're a data analysis company, I really like that industry. Unfortunately, I don't like this chart. This chart is not a good chart. Relative strength of 9, not looking good. We have a downward trend. Let's look at the monthly weekly chart to see if there's any redeeming factors. No, we made an all-time high back here in June of last year, which is looking good. Since then, it's been a downward trend. Can't like this one, unfortunately. There is a buy point on the consolidation base at 90.53. Currently, it's at 73.97. I think you gotta discount this one. So here's the thing with this one. I wouldn't recommend this one. I don't even think it's a watch list. I think you've got to be careful with this one. So I would not be. I just wouldn't be a buyer on this one. So no buy. Um, yeah, don't buy. I think that's kind of, we got to be kind of careful on that, but I wouldn't buy this one. Bad chart, wrong direction, a lot of things. Unfortunately, not working on this one, so I would not buy this one. I just think you got to be a little bit careful when it comes to that. So AYX, I think you gotta, it's not going to work. So I wouldn't buy that one. All right, thoughts on PAVE. Now this is an infrastructure pay, of course, and this is an ETF. PAVE, kind of cute name. PAVE. All right. So yeah, it's the U.S. infrastructure, and this is depending on the infrastructure program. Here's my concern about this one. I think that there's better opportunities in the pure plays like Granite Construction GVA than this one. With this one, here's the thing. I think broad base. This might be okay. It's up. It's moved into a buy zone. It's got an 80 relative strength. But I kind of want to look at some pure plays here instead of PAVE, Granite Construction GVA. I want to take a look at them. I think. Well, yeah. Okay, Granite. Yeah, this one's probably set up better. I'm looking at the monthly chart here. So here's what, if you want to get exposure to this area, I think it's better to buy the best single stocks that you can. I definitely think that's the case here. I want to take a look at the heavy construction area. It's still 137 out of 197, and so it's not. This isn't. It may get. I mean, if the infrastructure bill ever passes, then we might get it. But I want to look at the sort of this area, this construction group, just to see sort of if if there's anything there. So 137, let's move down to there. 137. Let's see if I can Get that in 137. There we go. Okay, so this is the heavy do. This is the building and heavy construction. This is the entire. This is everything in that particular group. Let's look at the leaders in here. I'm going to look at the stocks. Okay, Jacobs Engineering, no surprise. That's number one. We've got some of the KBR, Kellogg, Brand and Root. Let's look at the top stocks. These are the ones that are going to benefit the most, probably. Quanta. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Road. It's interesting. Let's look at that one. So yeah, I'm really of two minds on Pave. I think that I think that this bill is being uh, I think that I think that this bill is being overhyped. We'll see. I could be definitely proven wrong, but I think there's just so many other things. I know that it's called the infrastructure bill, but there's not a lot of infrastructure in it. So it's really the pay off the teachers union bill. That's sort of what's going to happen with it. So I don't really expect a lot of actual construction to happen because of the infrastructure bill. That's the thing that they do in Congress. They name things that people think that they like, and they stuff them with pork, and then they say, oh well, we passed an infrastructure bill, and it's really not about infrastructure. So I'm not too optimistic really. So I would be careful with the infrastructure with an infrastructure play right now. I could be totally all wet on that, but um, you know. I have a question. Here's a question from TikTok. Should I invest 25K in Bitcoin? You know what? Even if Bitcoin was the greatest thing in the world, I would be a little bit careful putting all my eggs in one basket. I just don't want to do that. I want to have a little bit of diversification. So even if I was going to do something related to Bitcoin, I wouldn't be putting 100% or 25,000 in. What I would do is I would divide that into eight areas. So eight positions, and that's going to come out to uh, about on a $25,000 a portfolio. That's gonna end up being if you divide that by eight, and that's how I would do it. Now, looking at the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which is the proxy for Bitcoin, it has moved a little bit above the 200-day line, but it's still pretty weak. So I just don't think I would probably. The jury's still out on Bitcoin. If I would put 25,000 in Bitcoin in September, I probably would not. I'll be honest. I probably would not be not. Let's look at Docusign now. Of course, Docusign was one of the ones that really fell today, so I want to look at that as well. DOCU. This is the symbol for Docusign. There we go. Okay, well, look, it's okay. I'm gonna. I have a lot of notations here because I have been trading this one. So let me kind of just take off the uh, that. Just kind of look to see what the action is. It's up and after hours. It's still got earnings in 2 days. You know what? I don't know. This is a tough one. I wouldn't buy it today. I would definitely wouldn't buy it today. I would be waiting. This one you probably want to watch this one. This could break out, but it's not going to break out. Here we are. This definitely could break out, uh, on earnings, but I still think that we have to be super careful with this. So I would not be a buyer of this one right now. I would wait a little bit. Let's see if it breaks out. And if it breaks out convincingly over about 314, then maybe it's still in the buy zone right now. You could definitely, if we weren't so close to earnings, you could definitely buy this one. But I think you've got to be a little bit careful on DocuSign right now. I do. I want to see. I'd like to see it come through earnings before, really before you did anything on it, because it could be a surprise, kind of like Zoom was. You don't want to have those Zoom surprises. Okay, thank you, Christian, very much. Let's look at Micron. It's funny. I don't know why this is so popular, but I guess it's because they're anticipating, it's with the chip shortage. Because the interesting thing about Micron is that they're next to Samsung Industries and Hynix. They're probably the biggest manufacturers of of DRAM in the world, and no matter what, the world runs on DRAM. So, but I just don't like this chart. I have to admit. I mean, if you look at this chart, here it is. It's just been, this is the reversal line here. It's just been pulling back. It just cannot move above this reversal line. So I'm a little bit concerned here. I don't think, earnings are 28 days. I just probably wouldn't buy this one right now. I know that a lot of hedge funds have it, and maybe they know something I don't know. I mean, that absolutely could be the case. It's got a checklist. That's not bad, 67%. But for some reason, this just doesn't add up. I mean, it should be much higher than it is. Somebody knows something that I don't know, and I think they're probably smarter than I am. So I would not buy this one based on this chart. I don't think it's reversed. Now, if it could reverse, if it could move above this 80 point, if it could move above about there, then I'd be more interested because this is the 200-day line. Now, if it moves above that and it starts to make a move like that, then I might be interested. But I'm only interested if it moves above 80. So right now, Jay, I just don't think it's viable at this point. I think it's watch listable. I think we definitely want to watch list this one, but I just don't think it's viable. So here's what I would do with Micron. I think you got to watch list this one, put it on your watch list, and I think it might, it might work. But right now, I wouldn't buy it. I just wouldn't buy it. I want to see it stronger before I do anything on that. All right. Thank you, Brian. What do you think of Coin? Of course, you should probably know I was in Coinbase really when it came out. I held it basically as long as it went up, and then I sold immediately. It is in a downward trend, and it has been for a while. This is the Coinbase chart here. Currently, it's trading at 259, and as you can see, it's just had this downward trend. So I just want to see it move probably to at least this level here, basically the 350 level. And the reason I want to see it like there, and I'm just kind of trying to draw kind of dotted line across here, is because this is going to form a cup basis. This is an IPO, and typically what happens with IPOs is they come out, they move up like this, and then they cup, and then if the IPO is strong, it'll move above there. But I just don't think that there's enough strength right now. Currently, the trend is down. We have a relative strength of 17. The checklist is also decent at 67, but I definitely think, it's just not time for this one yet. So here's what I would do with this one. I think you got to watch this one carefully, but I just don't think it's the right time. This is definitely a watch list stock right now. So that's kind of my take on Coinbase. Great idea, and I think it's an interesting proxy for the Bitcoin market in general. I use the GBTC, but I also look at Coinbase because it is one of the biggest of the exchanges out there, and so that's that. I also look at it for that. But right now, I think with Coinbase, COIN, I think you just got to be super careful, and I just don't think you can buy it right now. I just don't think you can. Hey, thanks, Ricky. Hi, Jim. Your thoughts on GBTC? Basically, trying to get a handle on Bitcoin. Yeah, absolutely, and Ethereum. There's another one. I can't remember if it's the GBTC. There's one for Ethereum too, and I haven't been tracking that one. I'll be honest with you. Innovator, which is the company that basically makes the GBTC. And by the way, the GBTC controls about 4% of the world's Bitcoin, which is kind of amazing when you think about it. I think that let me look at GETH. I think that's a valid symbol. This is the Ethereum one. GETH, I believe it is. Is that right? Nope. ETA maybe. I cannot remember. All right. Well, let's see if I can. Genie. No. Okay. Well, heck, I can't find it, but we can definitely look at the GBTC, and we can definitely look at the GBTC here again. And I think this is important because this is sort of the proxy for Bitcoin. And on the good side, on the good side, the GBTC has pulled above that 200-day moving average. So I'm excited about that. we have reversed higher. This you can see it's moved through that reversal line. So I'm fairly jazzed about that. We have declining volume. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that there are fewer people willing to sell. So that is essentially bullish. As we can see, there's fewer people that are selling. So, and it's on the 10-day line. So it looks as to me, at least based on this chart, that I am neutral to mildly bullish on Bitcoin based on this chart. Why? Because it's on the 10-day line, it's above the 200-day line, it's reversed, and the volume is moving downwards, indicating that a lot of the weak hands are getting stronger and they don't want to sell. So that's what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. So it looks as if we may have a situation where Bitcoin may get stronger. Let's take a look. I'm going to go and bring up the just another chart for Bitcoin. Let's see if I can bring this up here. Yeah, let's see if I can do this. BTC price. My charts don't include Bitcoin, so I have to move to another chart when I'm doing this. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Did I get back? All right. Let's see if I can. Okay. Let's see if I can get another another thing here. Let's see if I could see that tab. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, in terms of Bitcoin, and I don't know if you can see this. Let's zoom in a little bit on it. Currently, Bitcoin is basically at 47. Essentially, what happened here was 40,000 seems to be the floor here, but 49 seems to be the ceiling. So right now it looks as if we're sort of in a trading range here from about 40 to about 50, and it looks as if we are at the top of we're at the top of the range. So right now it looks as if it's probably going to fall here, probably for the next week or two. That's what I'm seeing on this chart, and until it probably will get some support at 40. So here's the thing: if it breaks through 50,000, then we could possibly buy it. But if it doesn't, I think you got to wait until it pulls back to about 40 or 41 to buy it. So that's kind of how I'm looking at Bitcoin right now, based on the GBTC chart. It based on the GBTC, that could be that could be that could be the way it goes. So I just can't say in terms of that. But looking back at the GBTC, it's sort of going sideways. So it's really tough. It's tough for me to see on this that we're going to see it move too much above about 49. It's at 47. If it pulls back from there, it should get some support about 40,000. So that's kind of what I'm seeing with Bitcoin right now. All right. Here's a question. Thank you. I bought 10 calls for Palantir after seeing your 10 post. Okay. Well, that's pretty risky, but I think you might be able to do something with that. That's interesting. Here's the thing. It depends on when they expire. Here's the thing. If you do get, of course, I don't know what your strike prices are, but I think Palantir is probably headed higher. I really do. Now I could be all wet on this. If this is this and fortune this and tarot reading are essentially the same thing. No, actually we do use charts, but it's not an exact science. But this is in a cup with handle, with buy point. It's above the buy point, so I think it's probably going to go higher. I know the question is how long how long is it going to be, but it probably is going to go higher. So I wish you very, very good luck, and I hope if by the way, if you could help me, if you are successful, please write in and tell your experiences, because I always try to validate. It's nice to validate things if you're successful. Here we go. So thank you. Okay, so let's go to the next one, and there we go. And thanks for looking at me. By the way, I want to do this because this is important. Could you please subscribe to me on YouTube? It really helps me out. I know that everyone else and their brother says subscribe, subscribe, but please like and subscribe, please like and subscribe, please like, yeah, whatever. Um, anyways, thank you very much. What do you know about energy stocks like BP, TTE, and Chevron? Okay, well, these okay. There's different kinds of energy stocks. I want to be very clear on that. Chevron CV is an integrated company. It's more like a retail company, even though they do exploration and they do exploration projection and all that. But they're more like a retail company because they have stores and all that. They're less like an E&P company. So, saying that, let's kind of look to see where the energy companies are right now in terms of the groups. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at kind of the group rankings and see if we've got anything on the energy sectors that we need to be looking at. Currently, the number one sector, and I know this is incredible, there's only 13 stocks in this, is coal. Can you believe that? Coal. You would have thought that that would have been, that would have been a big deal, but coal is the number one in right now. Steel producers number three. I'm just trying to see where the oils are kind of coming out. We did have a bump on oil today, I believe. They've dropped a lot actually from the beginning of the year. Beginning of the year, they were absolutely the place to be was in the oil sector. It's now not quite as good. Let's see if utilities. That's never when I never buys utilities. Let's see now. Coming on down here, and I would be a little bit careful right now, and with some, I'd really be a little bit careful with some of the oils right now. They don't seem to be doing as well. But let me look at Denbury instead of. Let me look at Denbury here really quickly. Yeah, Denbury Research. If you want to be in, and they've fallen a lot. The E&Ps have fallen. They were number one and number two. Now the sector is 74. So it's been pulling back. If you do want to get into one, Denbury is pretty darn good. It's pulled above the 40-day line, but it's I think you got to be a little bit more cautious right now in the oils. At least that's what I'm seeing. So I would be a little bit cautious with BP. Right now, it just seems like whereas they were on fire at the beginning of the year, I think it's a little bit more difficult right now. So yeah, some of the way it is. All right, let's look at CLNE. All right, CLNE, Clean Energy. Okay, this is the T. Boone Pickens company. I remember this company. It's based here in Dallas, interestingly enough. This company is a great idea in search of a market. I hate to say, really the biggest market for natural gas vehicles, unfortunately, is like trash trucks, municipal services, that kind of thing. Some of the ports have it, but it's been falling. Now, here's one thing I will say about natural gas. I think this winter we're going to have a shortage of natural gas. If you're interested in that, and I do think there's going to be a spike in the winter because especially in New England, especially if we have a cold winter. But right now, I just cannot recommend clean energy. This unfortunately is not a good chart. It's trading below the 200-day line, and even though it does have a relative strength of 94, which I really like, it's still in decline. So I am a little bit leery of this. Alternative energy fuels, and this is sort of where natural gas lives. 119 out of 197. So I can't give you, I don't want to give you any false hope here, but I don't think CLNE, Clean Energy Fuels, probably is a good investment right now. So I would just be careful with clean energy right now. PaySafe, same problem. We also have, this terribly sloping trend. We just don't want to buy trends like this going from high to low. So I would not recommend this one either. I hate to be so negative, but yeah, none of those. I don't think you want either of those. Let's look at TMHC. TMHC. And this is coming from Null. Taylor Home. Oh, Taylor Morrison Homes. Okay, yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, this one might be good. The home builders have been getting lots of love as of late. The primary one I think you want to look at is That's Lennar. But Taylor Morrison is good. It's very, very good. This is a good company. It's pulled. Looks like it's just pulled above. It's made the bounce. It's gone down. It's made its low. Looks like at 2264. It's made its bounce off of its low here, the consolidation low, and then it's moving above the 200-day line. I like seeing that. It's having a little bit of trouble hanging on to this, but this one might not be so bad. Relative strength of 44. They're pretty much selling everything they're building. 67 relative strength. So, what do I think about this one? Well, I do think they had some good earnings. Let's look at their weekly chart. Okay, so their sales were up 13%, their earnings were up 24%. The only thing that's going to limit a company like this is two things: the availability of lots to build on, and that's a problem, and the metro areas that they're building in. So, yeah, I definitely think this is potentially a good stock. But I think that if I was looking in this particular area, and this has definitely been improving, this residential building area, it's number 45. I also want to point out. Let's look at 45 here. Right, there we go. This is residential building homes. I want to kind of look at the competitors to Taylor Morrison, and that kind of gives you an idea. Okay, new homes, NVR, very, very good company here. Lennar's the biggest one. Of course, Century Communities, Lennar. This is really probably the ones you want to be in. Here's the thing. I think you want to be in the leaders, and Lennar is definitely in that category. So let's kind of look at the Class B Lennar stock. Yeah, it's right above the buy zone. So I think for instead of Taylor Morrison, you probably want to look at Lennar. LEN is the symbol for that one. And it's a little bit stronger relative strength. I think this is the biggest home builder right now in the United States. The other one, of course, is Century Communities, CCI. They're also very good. It's not that I dislike Taylor Morrison, but I think you should always try to get exposure to the best, to the best stock in the industry. And I think currently, with that, it's going to be that's going to be Lennar for the home builders. All right, I think we have about two more questions left to go. I will thank you, man. Hopefully, I will tag you in TikTok, sir. So hopefully we have a good result on your calls, on your calls on Palantir. So I'm glad you saw that, by the way. Okay. Builder looks attractive. Any views on building materials companies? Well, I'm currently in one. The one I'm in currently on building materials is Trex, TREX. And this is the plastic lumber company. It was down a little bit today, but I think this is a good company. It's right at a buy point. As you can see, Trex. This one might be of interest. There is a 111.04 buy point on this one. This one I do like. So that's one currently that I am in. All right. Life storage. Let's look at this one from Mr. Jeet, LSI. All right. Let's look at LSI. LSI. And that's life storage. Look at that. Wow. A REIT. Okay. Okay. So this is, a lot of people are liking those REITs right now. That's for sure. Look at this. It's absolutely steady. It doesn't even form a base. It just keeps on going up. So this is okay. So this is self storage. Okay. So this is interesting. Not an area. REITs are an interesting area. There are some very good REITs. Another one you might want to look at is called ELS. And of course, that is Equity Lifestyles. This is a Sam Zell. He was one of the companies. This is the one I think you. Unfortunately, this is extended. This is, I think, the one you really wanted to buy, though. It's Equity Lifestyles. So this is a very, very good one. Unfortunately, it's way above its buy point. 68.51 is the buy point on this one. This, interestingly enough, is a REIT of trailer parks, and by the way, they're the most profitable business in real estate. So very interesting there as well. Okay. Oh, there it is. Is the one. Okay, so let's look at ETHE. ETHE. Okay. This is the Ethereum ETF, I believe. ETHM. Is that right? ETHE. Excuse me. Grayscale Ethereum. Okay, very good. Thank you for this. Thank you very, very much for this. I'm going to start including this more. Thank you for bringing this up. Yeah, this is not a bad chart. This is not a bad chart. Of course, it came out, it moved up, and now it looks like it's moving higher. So look at this relative strength at 97. We have buying activity going on here. Wow, this is a really good one. I definitely like this. It's a bulletin board. This is kind of really small, so I typically don't trade these just because it's too small of a cap for me. The GBTC is big enough cap. This one is not enough cap for me currently. It's just not big enough stock. I mean, obviously it's not a stock; it's an ETF. Very very interesting. But thank you for bringing this to my attention. Well, we have gone an entire hour, and I really appreciate everyone stopping by, taking a look at what we have. By the way, if you want to get on our action trailer, it's super duper easy to do, of course. And all you have to do is go to www.dallastradingfloor.com. So that's all, and just need a first and last name and an email address, and we'll get you right on that. We have some nice stuff. We shared, I think yesterday, we shared a list of top rated stocks under $10. I think a lot of people got some good value out of that. I don't know exactly I don't think I'll be coming out with anything today, but I probably will be coming out with a watch list and possibly a ready list. Probably on Wednesday, we'll have a ready list of stocks that are ready to buy. They're you kind of want to put them in your charting software so that you can put alerts on them to get ready to buy them. So we'll probably be doing that on Wednesday, but you got to be on the list, and that's at www.dallastradingfloor. So I will be back tomorrow at the same time. I think I have maybe one last question. So let's see. Thank you very much, Tycoon. Appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow at about 2:40 if everything holds. And everybody, do sign up for the free action trailer. It's www.dallastradingfloor. And of course, also, if you're watching us on YouTube, really appreciate if you hit that like button and possibly subscribe. That would be great. Really helps. Really helps keep this show on the air. So until tomorrow, thanks again, and happy trading.